What's a secret dream you've never told anyone? I mean, a real deep down ambition that you've kept locked away. Maybe you think it's too silly, too impossible, or just too personal to share. Well, today I'm going to share one of mine with you, and I hope it encourages you to think about yours too. For as long as I can remember, I've had this quiet dream of becoming a luthier. That's a fancy word for someone who builds and repairs stringed instruments, like guitars and violins. It's a bit random, right? I don't come from a family of woodworkers or musicians. It's just something that sparked in me one day. I remember being a teenager holding my first cheap acoustic guitar. It sounded okay, but I was fascinated by its construction. The curve of the body, the way the strings vibrated against the fretboard, the smell of the wood. I started wondering, could I make one of these? Not just assemble a kit, but truly craft one from a raw block of wood. The idea felt so big, so out of reach. I didn't know the first thing about woodworking. I was afraid people would laugh. You a luthier, but you can barely hang a picture straight. I could hear the voices of doubt in my head before anyone even said a word. So I pushed it down. I told myself it was just a fleeting interest, a silly phase. I went to college, got a regular job, and followed a path that seemed much more sensible and safe. But the dream never really went away. It would pop up at the most random times. I'd be in a music store and instead of looking at the shiny new guitars, I'd be studying the grain of the wood on a vintage one, running my fingers over the joints, trying to understand how it was all put together. I started watching documentaries about famous luthiers, mesmerized by their workshops filled with wood shavings and specialized tools. It was like a secret world I was observing from the outside, too scared to even knock on the door. Fear is a powerful thing, isn't it? It keeps us in our comfort zones. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown. My fear told me I wasn't skilled enough, I didn't have the talent, and it was too late to start. It was easier to just keep it a secret, a little fantasy to daydream about, rather than risk turning it into a disappointing reality. That way, the dream could stay perfect and untarnished in my mind. But over the past couple of years, something started to shift. I realized that keeping this dream a secret wasn't protecting it, it was suffocating it. A dream that's never pursued is just a wish. It doesn't have a chance to grow, to change, or to become real. And what's the worst that could happen if I tried? I might build a terrible-looking guitar that sounds like a cardboard box. So what? I'd learn something. I'd have a story to tell. The real failure, I realized, was not trying at all. So I took a tiny step, a very, very tiny one. I didn't quit my job and open a workshop. I bought a book. Just one book, Guitar Making, Tradition and Technology. I started reading it in secret, late at night, like it was a forbidden text. Then I bought a small set of wood-carving knives and a block of scrap wood. I just started whittling, trying to get a feel for the material, learning how the grain behaves. My first few attempts were laughable. I made more toothpicks than anything else, but it was incredibly satisfying. I was finally doing it, not just thinking about it. That small step led to another. I found an online community of amateur luthiers. I lurked for months, just reading their posts, looking at their progress pictures, soaking up their knowledge. Seeing other people, regular people with day jobs and families, building beautiful instruments in their garages and basements was incredibly inspiring. They weren't all master craftsmen from birth. They were just passionate people who decided to try. Finally, I got the courage to post a question. It was something simple about what kind of glue to use. I was so nervous hitting that post button, but the response was amazing. People were so kind, so encouraging, offering advice and welcoming me into the fold. It turns out this secret world I was so afraid of was actually a warm and inviting community. Sharing my secret, even with strangers online, made it feel real. It wasn't just my silly little dream anymore. It was a shared passion. Now, I have a small corner of my garage dedicated to this hobby. It's not much a workbench, a few clamps, and a growing collection of tools. I've started working on my first actual instrumental ukulele because it felt a little less intimidating than a full-sized guitar. It's a slow process. There are days I make a mistake and have to start a piece over. There are days I feel completely out of my depth, but every time I make a perfect cut or successfully bend a piece of wood into shape, there's a feeling of accomplishment that's hard to describe. I still haven't told many people in my real life about this. You guys are actually some of the first to hear the full story. But I'm not hiding it out of fear anymore. It's just my quiet little world, my form of meditation. It's where I go to shut off the noise of daily life and focus on creating something with my own two hands. Will I ever become a full-time luthier? I don't know. And honestly, that's not even the point anymore. The point was to stop being afraid of my own dream. So I want to ask you again, what's your secret ambition? Maybe it's writing a novel, learning to paint, starting a small business, or traveling to a place no one you know has ever heard of. Whatever it is, I want you to know it's not silly. It's not impossible. It's a part of who you are. Maybe today is the day you take one tiny step. Buy the book. Watch the tutorial. Write the first sentence. Tell one person. You don't have to conquer the world tomorrow. Just open the door, even just a crack, and let your secret dream see a little bit of light. You might be surprised by what starts to grow. Thanks for letting me share this with you. It feels good to finally say it out loud. Let me know in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing a secret dream of your own. I'd genuinely love to read them. Remember to be kind to yourself and your dreams. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.